At some point in our life, instead of living, we chose to stay. Instead of walking our childhood patterns, getting to know ourselves, or choosing something more stable, we chose to heal someone else. I create this video for anyone who will once or several times in their life waiting in the cold for a winter flower to bloom, accepting breadcrumbs as signs of love, who were patient until someone caused far more damage on your self-esteem and your life than you can ever imagine, in the name of being loyal to potentials and empty promises. Yes, promises. That's what the problem is. No matter how many good memories you guys share together or how sincere they look when they apologize and promise to change, it's time to accept that the future you want with them will never happen. It's a trauma bond.
And what about women who get a taste of a toxic relationship or a bad relationship and they keep going back to it?
That would be a trauma bond. What happens with a toxic relationship is they give you love in doses. So they'll give you a bit of love, then followed by a lot of trauma, then love, then trauma. And what happens is we get addicted to that love. We see potential. We're like, oh, but it used to be so good. Or do you remember when he used to do that to me? How can I let him go? So they hold on to the good and forget the trauma in between, and they end up staying with that person. But the reality is, if you have to think about when it was good, it's not good.
Yeah.
According to research, there's 7 stages in a trauma bond cycle. 1. Love bombing. They shower you in the beginning with intense affection and declaration of love to create a strong connection. 2. Gaining trust. They start pushing you some boundaries and rules that seem harmless at first, and it makes you feel guilty to deny it. 3. Criticizing the victim. They start showing some dramas as jokes. Sometimes they bend the bats, slowly put blames on you to make you feel like you're not good enough. 4. Manipulation. They employ more gaslighting to make you doubt your own perception of reality. You forgive them again and again even though they prove to be unreliable. 5. Resignation. You suppress your own need and comply with their rules because you are scared of how they will react. Your relationship is unpredictable and their attitude towards you can change in a day. You feel responsible for their happiness. You defend your relationship even though it's traumatic and complicated. 6. Identity loss. Your self-esteem is shattered. You feel ugly, worthless, and always compare yourself to someone they are interested in, or even change your appearance, your lifestyle to fit their expectation. 7. Compulsive continuation of the cycle. After the abuse, they return to apologize and give you even more affection to make amends, creating false hopes, but that's not the end. They will repeat the abuse cycle. A sense of familiarity makes it impossible for you to leave the relationship.
I know you're really upset right now and you don't want to hear this, but trust me when I tell you that the person that did this doesn't love you.
If you are in something like this right now or before, I won't judge you. Most of the time, people will say things like, why don't you just leave them? They actually never experienced this kind of connection before. Let's admit it, when it's good, it's really, really good. But when it's bad, it's disturbing and traumatizing. You are bonded with someone who is still committed to their independent lifestyle, yet they want you only for themselves. You are loyal to a connection that is complicated. You constantly question your values in their heart. Trying to convince someone to love you and see your values is like fighting a battle that you cannot win. So now you know this. It's time to choose yourself. It's time to move on even though it's hard.
I couldn't keep my balance.
Please
Listen to the truth. Sometimes to lose balance for love is part of living balanced life.
It's like having a funeral for somebody who is still living. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy because we are breaking free from an addiction of constantly falling for someone who doesn't care about us. So you will feel the pain both physically and emotionally. Let's imagine like you quit smoking. You may miss the cigarettes from time to time, but of course you won't come back, right? You will miss them. It's okay, but know that it's better to be haunted by somebody's absence than to be comfortable in their inconsistent efforts. So let's start doing it. Let's start building a future without them. To be able to really end things and start on your to working on yourself, I think the only thing we just need to do is to stop on the reflection and thinkings about who is right, who is wrong, or what did we do that led to this outcome. There's no point thinking about something that's already in, right? The only thing we need to do is to work on ourselves, our healing, our self-development for a future that does not include them. And if you need a closure, I can give you. I have seen people who wake up at 4 a.m. every day for something that they really dream about, for a goal, working on themselves. Or I have seen somebody who go beyond the limits to take care of their family. So if you find yourself having to cross an ocean for somebody who don't want to jump over a small bottle for you, it's just that you're no longer important to them. So for example, maybe you are 7 on 10, 8 on 10, but you are not like 10 on 10 to them. You are not their wildest dream, because if you are really, really important and really what they really want, they won't make you think too much or question your values. If you think that you are valuable, it's time to prove it to yourself. Try to ask yourself that what they can do for you that you cannot do for yourself. Isolation is how somebody went into depression and never come back. I know that after a bad relationship, you will feel like it's very scary to connect to other people. You will start to guard up, lock yourself inside the room, right? It's okay. You can take some time to heal, to rejuvenate, to work on yourself, but don't forget to also let other people in. And especially the best way is through friendship, right? Start approaching connection like you are a learner. So educate yourself, learn about your attachment style, your patterns, your unhealthy habits in relationship, and also learn about how a healthy connection works, or how to recognize the signs of manipulation or deception, gaslighting from the early stage of the connection. It will help you a lot in the long run, instead of just locking yourself inside the room and overthink everything. Sometimes when we are in the honeymoon phase of any connection or any relationship, it's so easy to compromise, to accept something that we don't really want to accept, and it leads to a lot of problems after that. So what I learned from my last relationship is sometimes we need communication before starting anything. We need to make things clear, setting boundaries in the beginning, or speak up what we think when something starts to happen. It's always better to communicate, to talk about things, instead of crashing everything down and just accept what you don't really like, because in the long run, of course, you won't be able to handle it anymore. Learn about your rules, learn about what you really want before you letting anybody in, and learn how to speak your values, your commitment, your boundaries. Also, if you are seeking for certain values in other person, of course, first we need to become that person ourselves, right? So if you want a loyal person, of course, you need to be loyal to yourself. You need to be loyal to your life, your goals, your dream, what you are working on, and that's how you attract a loyal person. Or if you need somebody who is honest, you need to be first the honest person, right? Because it's all about projection. You are already that version yourself. So if they do something that is not really aligning with your values, of course, it means that they are doing something that is different from what you are doing. And trust me, love will come back. Even if you have given it to somebody who wasn't in a place to return it to you, it's not a mistake. Whoever received your love and your light at that moment, they really need it. It's not a waste. And someday, all of the love that you gave so freely and willingly out there will come back to you. And it will come from somebody who has been waiting for their whole life for this kind of connection. You are going to be exactly what they are praying for, and you don't have to beg, to bargain for them to stay or see your words again.